Hello everyone, my name is Sabrina Slagowski-Tipton. I'm the Managing Director at the Center for Public Deliberation. Thank you so much for taking the time to have these conversations and to complete these trainings. In this video, I'm going to discuss a step-by-step guide for hosting your conversations and also cover some technical aspects of phone and video conferencing. On the training page, there are links to the interview guide, tutorials for video conferencing apps, and the video conferencing apps themselves I will discuss in this video. First and most importantly, make sure you identify your networks. Right now, this may require you to first figure out who has the bandwidth to have these conversations. Also identify who in your networks may need to be connected to resources and who would benefit from social interaction at a time where many of us are feeling socially isolated. Then, make sure you work with your participants, whether that's one or many, to choose a date and time that works best for all involved. When choosing this time, please plan for between 1.5 to 2 hours, just to make sure that you give yourself enough time. Once those steps are complete, you'll then choose your technology. If you're only having one-on-one conversations, these will be phone calls. For those of you wanting 2 or more participants, those conversations will happen in a video conferencing app. Skype, Google Hangouts, and WebEx are the 3 services we recommend for video conferencing because they're free and they do not put time limits on conversations. Katie mentioned Zoom in her intro video, but because they cap their free services at 40 minutes, this is not a good choice for our purposes. If you're using Skype, you will need to sign in or create an account. You can then create a meeting and invite people through an email or through a link. There's no time limit on these meetings and you can have up to 50 participants, so way more people than you need to engage at one time, but that way you know you won't run out of space. If you choose Google Hangouts, you'll have to log in with your Google account or create one. You can send participants a link and they can join in their browser or on the iPhone or Android app. Participants will need to sign in using their Google account or create one. Google Hangouts does not have a time limit and can host up to 150 participants, way more than you will need. For WebEx, you'll also need to create an account to use video conferencing, but your participants do not need an account. They can join through a link, and WebEx also has iPhone and Android apps. Their free tier allows up to 100 participants and does not have a time limit. Once you've chosen your time and your technology, you'll need to run through a complete interview with an associate of the CPD. This will allow us to get your input on the questions and also will allow you to prepare for scenarios that might come up in conversations with your own communities. After you've completed your interview, you're free to host your own conversations. If you're video conferencing, please be in the call 5 minutes prior to start time. Be sure to introduce yourself, thank participants for their time, and then explain the purpose of these conversations. In video calls, also remind participants to be filling out the survey while the conversation is ongoing. We will be asking you all to help track notes for these conversations. We'll need data from these conversations to design a community-wide conversation when we're all allowed to be with each other again. This information is also vitally important to help the city understand how to best address the needs and concerns of our communities. If you're taking notes during a phone call, please make sure you track responses in real time and then record them into the data survey when the conversation is over. For video conferencing, your participants will be filling out the survey while you discuss, so please allow time between questions for people to fill out that survey. Especially for those of you tracking notes during a phone conversation, be sure to organize the notes by question. This will make it much easier for you when you then have to go in and fill out the survey. It's okay to step in and paraphrase to make sure you heard something correctly, or to ask participants to slow down so you can catch up. For those of you in video conferencing, again, please remember to pause between questions and proceed when your participants have indicated they're done with the question. There's your step-by-step conversation guide. Please feel free to access all the resources on this page and click around the video conferencing apps to decide which one works best for you. You'll see you can also access a full transcript of this video if you need it for reference. Thank you all so much for the valuable time you'll spend on this process. We appreciate you all and are excited to connect with our communities during this crisis.